bombers are fine, though. I mean, like Bryson with 4 par 5s. Anytime I can get 4 par 5s with Bryson, I'll take Bryson still. I'll take my chances. But
all right, Big T. We got Uncle T giving out JT at 20-1.
I'm doubling down with TNT. I'm taking JT at 20-1. I don't even care that we like the same dude. I don't even care. I'm doubling down. TNT effect. We're going to both take JT at 20-1. I got to find something in the mid-range here. Let's see.
What do you like in that area? Corey Connors.
Yeah.
I'll take Burns. You take Connors.
Yeah, definitely. I want Connors. I'm taking Sergio at 80-1 for my mid-range. Harmon's 225-1. Dylan Smith just made fun of me. Sergio, yeah, he's 80-1. Dylan Smith, stop. Chris Myers says Big T is going to take advantage of himself tonight. That is not true either. The wife is waiting for me. I guarantee that. So stop.
Shit, wife's waiting for you.
She just texted me during the show asking me when I'm coming up. So stop. The Bombers are.
What is going on, everyone? AP over here at Rumpier Sports. Man, I was feeling so confident, so ready for this show. Ready that, the Tuesday night crew was going to absolutely own the Wednesday night crew. If you're not familiar, we are the number 1 and number 2 shows in the industry, and I don't think it's close with the Tuesday show having the slight edge, of course. But then our guy Simon rolls a little clip from the Wednesday show that we can't really compete with yet. Big T's Millie Maker win. Shout out again to Big T. But that's going to change. It's changing of the guard at the PGA Championship. I'm here with my 2 main guys. Let's first go to Snyder. We are upgrading. Huge upgrade, massive upgrade. Uncle T ditched us tonight. We got Snyder in the house. Snyder, what's going on, my man?
Hey, not much. Just ready for this next major to get after it. Took some heat last week by fading Bryson, but it panned out. Had a solid week and ready for this week.
You got some crazy takes tonight. I'm excited to hop into those and to make fun of you maybe on a couple. We'll see. We're going to talk about you in Big T's bet. That's pretty wild. But Hoop, what's going on, man? How do you feel? You ready for this week? Give me some thoughts with Uncle T. I mean, what's this guy doing to us?
Yeah, so a few things. First off the top, Uncle T. I mean, me, you, Uncle T, been riding together since the beginning of these PGA shows, and every time a major hits, Uncle T has a decision to make. Does he want to stick with his crew, me and you, or does he want to ditch us and go with Big T and JSU? And once again, he's made the decision to go with Big T and JSU, and it's hurtful, but whatever. We're gonna lock in some winners here, and like you said, our boy Snyder. I mean, no one knows more about the tour than Snyder. Although some of his takes this week, I am going to vehemently disagree with, but we'll get there, like you said. Also, these shows that we're doing Tuesday, Wednesday, you're not going to get better analysis of this event around the industry. I've listened to a lot of the stuff. I mean, it's just not going to be as good. Now, in terms of the Tuesday versus Wednesday stuff, it's going to be damn hard to compete with the Wednesday crew, and they get free advertising on the freaking Tuesday show. I mean, you pull this up, and I see Big T, I see JSU, I see Uncle T's face on our show. Simon, man, that's hurtful.
Yeah, we'll have to do some sort of wager, a lineup. Our crew gets theirs. We'll get some vetoes because I might need to use them for a few of Snyder's picks, but I know exactly where the Wednesday night crew is and where they're going. And very good place for sure, but I feel very dialed in. I feel like I have a very good read on the PGA Championship, more so than any other event that we've had year to date. So I'm coming in with a ton of confidence, and I'm ready to rock and roll this week with you two, my 2 main guys. First off, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep bringing you this free content every single week. If we don't get that stuff, we might just, go private with everything. Premium members only. I mean, it's on the table. I guess it'd be kind of, me or Hoop or Big T's call. We'll see. But so far it's been so good, and we're going to keep the good mojo going, of course. We're at Kiawah Island, the PGA Championship. We got a beast of a course, 7,800 yards, Pete Dye track. Snyder, do you want to give us a little, very simple overview of how you see the course going down this week?
Yeah, I mean, this is a unique Pete Dye track compared to what he usually has. It's an American Link style course. It's got more of a rare type of greens on there, that paspalum, which is used more on these coastal tracks because it can handle the elevated amount of salt in the water around these places. And these greens will actually roll purer than your typical grainier Bermuda grasses. I mean, they don't have many bunkers here, but they have 70 acres of sand, big areas of sand throughout the property. There'll be water in play on 6 holes. When they were building this course, Alice told Pete that she's like, you need to build these greens up so people can see the coastline. It's so nice to see the whole complete coastline. And as a result, that really made this course a lot tougher with these elevated greens and how the winds play on this course. So if you're around the green, you can get in some really tough spots around these greens with their undulations and such. And the locals will say that like 10 to 15 miles an hour of wind here is completely different than your local 10 to 15 miles an hour of wind, because you don't know where the wind's coming from or how and when. And that's about it. I mean, I guess there is like 156 golfers in this field, but it's going to play more as like a 125-man field with like the 20 PGA pros, the old PGA winners, the guys from Intercontinental guys that we haven't heard of much. So I think it's going to play at a higher 6-6 rate with a top 70 in ties this week.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I agree with the win. So I was watching a little bit of coverage today, practice rounds. Our boy, Wyndham Clark, hole-in-one on 17. The beast of a par 3, 225-yard par 3 over water, hole-in-one. The winds today in today's practice round look very similar to Friday. And you could see on the video there, just it was swirling like crazy. So I agree with that. I would, if it's blowing 25, that probably feels like 32, something like that, here where we're used to it. I agree with that.
To add to what Snyder was saying, the T70, it might not seem like a big deal. I mean, we've been rolling with the T65, and the T70 could mean, 8 to 10 more guys potentially get in, the ones that are tied there. So, I mean, it is a pretty significant deal when you factor that in with the fact that you have so many dead guys in the field that, are not, there's a group of 25 guys, maybe 2 or 3 of them will potentially make the cut. So, we're talking, over 50% of this field, of the playable guys are going to make the cut this week. And we have some very favorable prices as well. So, I think you need to factor that in when you're building your lineups this week.
Yeah, I agree. Those are good takes. One thing that I took away from just like looking at this course, the raised greens are really interesting. So what that tells me is if these guys miss or if they hit a spot on the green where it rolls off, you're going to want people that are good around the green, the Brian Harman types, guys that can get up and down. That's something that you're definitely going to want. These paspalum greens, Snyder, tell me if I'm right or wrong. They're a little stickier, right? These guys can get a little bit more aggressive and fire at some of these pins, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, cool. The other thing that I thought was interesting is kind of even, bad putters can putt good on these things since they run fairly true. Correct? Incorrect?
I think so.
So I'm asking Snyder because Snyder manages the top course here, one of the top courses here in Nebraska. So he knows all about this type of stuff, and great resource for us to have. Again, if you haven't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm reading over our notes right now, and this first note I see from our guys. Shout out to our producer Simon. Push Tony JSU DC on premium out to lock show. Okay, I'll push that. I thought it was going to say push the Wednesday night show. And I was going, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just joking. Of course, I'm going to push those guys tonight or tomorrow. it'll be JSU, Big T. We got Uncle T, the Wednesday night show. Those guys are going to break everything down. Make sure you check those guys out. It's usually a fun show, good time, runs very long when those guys are drinking, when Big T's drinking. And I do think JSU has to drink during this show too, so it should be a lot of fun. All right, guys, how we do it each and every week. We're going to go range by range. We're going to break it down, and we're going to narrow down our pool of players, and we're going to, find the winners. Very confident in that. The process has worked very well. I'm going to kick it over to you, Hoop, first. First off, any other comments just about the course, how you're attacking it this week, and then start us off with the 10K and up range.
Yeah, I mean, definitely excited for this one. I mean, anytime we get a loaded field at a new track, I think it's definitely interesting. One thing I will say, it is a major, and I know a lot of people say, oh, this guy's going to be chalk, that guy's going to be chalk. We see it all the time in these loaded fields. Like, it gets spread out for the most part. There might be a couple guys that get up there and start getting to an uncomfortable level, but for the most part, it gets spread out quite a bit. So I'm not factoring ownership in too much when building my teams. Just thought I would mention that. Now we go to the top. We have 6 guys over 10K this week, and Rory McIlroy comes in at 11.5. And Rory was a guy that was on the brink of just being done and irrelevant for DFS purposes. Well, he goes out and he wins at Wells Fargo. And last time they held an event at this course, he also won. He's 11.5 though, and I know a lot of people really, really like going more of a balanced approach at these majors. So despite everything working in his favor and him looking like a very strong play this week, I don't think his ownership is going to be all that high at 11.5. Now, if you do click his name, it's not very comfortable the rest of your lineup. There's a lot of solid plays. So if you put Rory in, you're looking at 7.7. So for the average for the rest of your 5 spots. Now, I will likely not be on Rory this week. I think there's a lot of really good plays that you can save some money with. I'm seeing pretty low ownership on him. So if you have a strong feel about Rory, I think you're going to get him at a respectable number, despite all those things kind of working in his favor. It's just very interesting. If Rory doesn't have a great Wells Fargo performance, that would have been like his, 3rd or 4th straight event where he's disappointed. He would probably be finally under 10K and people would still not play him. So I don't know. The Rory thing is very, very interesting to me. One good event. He looked really, really good at the Wells Fargo. So I don't think he's going to be highly owned. He is 11.5 this week. I don't think I'll be going there. If I'm coming all the way up, I definitely prefer JT over Rory. It's only $200 savings. I think I definitely lean JT. Now, Dustin Johnson, 10-9, withdrew from, what was it, the Wells Fargo that he withdrew from? Whatever his last event was supposed to be. He withdrew with some sort of knee issue. He's $10,900. He's virtually going to be unowned this week. I can't imagine clicking his name. He's definitely a fade for me. Now this is where it gets interesting for me. Jon Rahm, I just view him as a similar golfer to Rory, Justin Thomas, in terms of win upside and what you can expect from him each and every tournament. You get a significant discount. $800 cheaper than JT, $1,000 cheaper than Rory on DraftKings. You can do a lot with that salary. That gets you from a guy like, maybe a Ryan Palmer all the way up to Abe Answer, who I really like, that $1,000. So the $1,000 goes a long way when you're building rosters this week. So at 10.5, I'm very interested in Jon Rahm. I'm going to skip over Bryson for a minute. Jordan Spieth at 10.1. We've hated on Jordan Spieth a ton, earlier on in the year. But, man, it is hard to hate on him now. And we kind of got back on him a few weeks ago. I believe at the Valero is when we kind of got on him, and definitely at the Masters. He is just playing so well every single facet of his game. And, this is a long course. He's added length off the tee, and he's been very, very, very solid off the tee. He obviously is a very good approach player, good around the greens, good putter. Like, he is everything you'd want at this event. Really, really like him at 10.1. I don't think he's going to have super high ownership either. I know a lot of people are saying, he's going to be mega chalk. I don't think so. It just never happens at these majors. Sometimes it's like the upper tier guys are never chalk. The 9K guys, maybe they become like a pretty popular. But at 10-1, I don't think it'd be super popular. Definitely like Spieth. Bryson's the wild card this week at 10-2. Now, this is the longest course these guys are going to play at. And, where do we like Bryson? At long courses where he can pull out the big stick and just bomb it way out there. He has not looked good. I mean, got to give Snyder credit. I mean, Snyder's kind of owned Big T in this department when it comes to Bryson. Last week, not a great performance. I mean, 55th at a birdie fest. Like, Bryson DeChambeau at a birdie fest, like that's when he should excel. T55 is a weaker field. His results are just so up and down. And, he's out of all these guys up here. Yeah, he might be the most likely to miss the cut, but also he's very live to win it. So I don't think he's going to have massive ownership. I think a lot of people will be off of him because of these volatile performances. 47th at the Masters, top 10 at Wells Fargo, 55th at the AT&T last week. I don't think it's going to take a lot to get over the field on him. We know what he's capable of doing. He can run away with events, and this could be a course that really fits him well if his approach game comes into play here and strengthens and he looks better with the approach game. So in this range, I like a lot of these guys. I like JT, I like Rahm, I like Spieth, and I like Bryson. I don't think you have to play a ton of Bryson to get over the field. So that's kind of where I'm at up here.
Yeah, very, very good breakdown on this top range, which I feel it's a very important range. I do feel like these top guys are going to be there on Sunday. I think it's going to be one of these big names. I'm not necessarily saying this range, but a big name that wins this week. Snyder, let me kick it over to you. We're not to some of the crazy takes that I was looking back at my notes on things that you told me. I don't think we're to that section yet, but break down this 10K section. Who do you like? Who do you not like? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Hoop for the most part here. I mean, Rory, I was on him at the Wells Fargo. I had said that, his iron play never really went away from him during that little slump he was in. It come down to some poor putting around the green play and his off the tee game where he admitted the chasing those higher swing speeds. And he went to a new swing coach, went back to the basics, and it showed at the Wells Fargo. He gained over 2 strokes off the tee, gained nearly 7 strokes putting, 5 strokes approach. He looked really close to that 2019 Rory we saw where he had 7 straight top 5s. I mean, last time it was hosted here, like Hoop said, he ran away with it by 8 shots, gained over 20 strokes total in that event. And he's actually talked about these past Pelham greens here. He really likes them because they're a little slower and they grip the ball a lot more, which means he can be a lot more aggressive around these greens. He's got 2 PGA championships and hasn't won a major since 2014. So, that's kind of crazy to think, but I think this could be a bounce back spot for him to finally get that major he's been looking for the last 7 years. And I agree. I think he'll be lower owned here in the range. I wouldn't be surprised if he came in around 10% even. And then the next guy I'm going to look down to, Jon Rahm. I think he's a great value here, price 1,000 less. He's only finished outside the top 13 in one of his last 9 majors played, and he's got 4 top 5s. I think his length off the tee, and he's got the iron play needed for everything this track's going to throw at him. He's gaining nearly 6 strokes on average tee to green over his last 10 events, and I think he really sets up well for this and should be in contention come Sunday. Then the guy I'm debating on, it's really hard to look past Jordan Spieth here, the way he's been playing in 2021. 5 top 5s in his last 9 events, and he comes off that 9th place finish last week where he really didn't have his best stuff. He only gained 2 strokes total in that event, and he got 9th in. So, he's elite. He's elite iron player. It's hard to look past him. I think he'll be one of the highest owned players in the field this week. And he's also looking for that career Grand Slam this week. So that's another additive that he's looking for. So those are the 3 guys I'll be looking at up here.
Yeah. Real quick, I do agree with Hoop. I'm not too worried about ownership. I look at everyone's build, a lot of people's builds on Thursday mornings. And, there's people out there playing 90 guys, 100 guys. in MME, and some, well-known players that are doing this. And it's going to, it's going to spread out ownership. It does every week. I see it all the time. I don't fully understand it. Some people I respect in the industry do it. No bash to them. I disagree with the strategy. I like how we do it. I like having a tight pool. And I like taking stands on players. And, that's what we're going to do this week. We might disagree as a team on some of these plays, but, comes down to whoever you want to ride with or what you think, So just because some of us disagree doesn't mean that you should automatically move off of a player. Rory's interesting. So, what are the positives, in my opinion? Hits it high, which I think is going to be good for these greens. So him, Justin Thomas, these guys hit it sky high. I do think it's going to give them a little bit of an advantage versus someone maybe like a DJ who does have a lower ball flight, when attacking these greens, if you want to get the ball to stick. So, and we saw that with Rory. He ran away in 2012. I'm really torn on him up top. The thing about Rory, what he can do is when he gets hot, he gets hot. And it's just like, man, you don't want to fade him. The margin for error for getting on him, if you're waiting, you want a bigger sample size or whatever, by the time you have your sample size, it's going to be, he's already going to be there, getting wins, getting top five. So if you played him last week and if you're fading him this week, I think that's a dumb move. If you're on him last week, you get on him again here, especially at this course. I love Justin Thomas. So we all know Justin Thomas is my boy. We were high on him last week. Everything about his game is clicking, and everyone was talking about him last week. He fell short, and it was all due to the putter. Now, everything I've read and listened to and seen, these greens could be the difference maker for him this week. If they do putt very true, his putts, they were going where he wanted to. He just was skimming edges every single hole. It was just burning edges left and right and barely missing. So these greens could be what he needs, to make that turn. He's already a PGA champion. It's surprising when you think of him and his game that he only has one major win in his career. That's going to change. I think he's one of the guys with big win upside this week. He's clicking in three of the areas that I'm looking at very closely. That's strokes gained approach, strokes gained around the green. He's very good scrambling. They're showing us highlights around the green earlier this week, and he was just draining chip-ins, just chipping in left and right. So things you really love to see. I have a couple decisions to make. So I like Rory. I like Justin Thomas. I like Justin Thomas a little bit more. I'm uncertain where I'm going to have him. DJ, I'm off. I can't do it. I thought about it for a little bit. When you go and look at his record in majors, and specifically the PGA Championship, you're going to want to play him. But then when you just look at what he's been doing, partying still, jumping, doing backflips off yachts and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know if he's really putting the work in. Jon Rahm, another guy who should absolutely smash a course like this, a big boy course. His price is very favorable. So I'm off Justin Johnson. I'm very high on Spieth. I don't need to go to Spieth. You guys already covered him very well. I agree with all those takes. I think he's a phenomenal play this week. Honestly, I have to make two cuts in this range, and I'm between Jon Rahm and Bryson. I get the Bryson hype. I love it. He's long off the tee. But, man, when you look at his major record, it's not good. It really isn't. And this is a course where, I don't know, everyone describes it as a second shot course, not a bomb and gouge course, despite its length. And so if you think of Augusta, a second shot course, every time he's tried to bomb and gouge it, he's gotten absolutely owned. And so I am between him and Rahm. I'm always a sucker for Bryson, but I do lead to Rahm. But for sure, I'm off DJ. I got to say, my 1 and 2 in this range, I'm going to say Justin Thomas, and then I'm going to say Jordan Spieth, then Rory, if we're going top three.
That's a good point. So when you look at this range, I was just thinking about it a little bit more. And you look at these 6 guys, you say, okay, let's go, maybe the last 2 months. Who's been the best guys in this range in the last 2 months, which I think is a pretty good sample size to look at. I mean, more of a recent form type thing. It's Justin Thomas and it's Spieth, and it's not even close. Really. I mean, you just look at these 6 guys. Like those 2 in the last few months have been so much better and more consistent than these other 4 guys. And like I said, it's really not even close. You can't make an argument against it being Justin Thomas and Spieth. Just thought I'd add that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Let me keep it with you, Hoop. What's your – I feel this is an important range. So, like, let me ask you, for your 1 and 2, but then let me ask you another question. Is there any chance you're fading, like, everyone in this range outside of maybe one player?
In the upper range here?
Yeah, I've heard some rumblings of people fading the 10K and up range.
I think that's a mistake, because of what we talked about in the opening. You got Snyder, how many of these guys are dead coming into this event? I mean, it's a full field, but I mean, you can probably whack out 30 to 40 of these guys, right?
I was going to say, yeah, somewhere right in that range. And another thing to say about this ownership, if you're worried about ownership, I think the biggest way to differentiate yourself is set your max to $300 left on the table. There's so many people that will spend every dollar or 100 to 200. I mean, even if you go 300 and up, you're going to set yourself ways away.
Yeah. Just to button it up in this range, I feel real good about Spieth. I mean, Spieth might be, God, he just seems so good this week. Like he's just playing phenomenally well. So feel real good about Spieth. I currently like the discount down to Rahm from those top tier guys, but the more we're talking, Justin Thomas is kind of sticking out to me as just a really, really strong play. So as of now, it's clearly Spieth. Rahm's probably my second, but when I go to build teams tomorrow, that could change to Justin Thomas, to be honest with you.
So one thing I got to add about Spieth that I just thought of is if you're worried about him being shaky off the tee, which sure, maybe he's not as accurate as some, but he's been far more accurate than what we've seen in the past. Look, the landing areas that these guys are going to be driving to, if you're not bomb and gouging it, are forgiving. Like, I'm not worried at all about him off the tee this week. I think they're going to have a very strong game plan. I think they're going to lean on how good his approach game has been. It's been by far the best in the field. Well, second, actually maybe third. Justin Thomas actually a little bit better than him. And then I think, then Snyder's boy is first overall. And Snyder knows that. He would have called me out for that one. Snyder, give me your 1 and 2, and then go on into the 9K range.
I think I'm going to play. I haven't started building teams yet, but I really want to get Rory in there just because I got to stick with him, I think. And then probably Spieth. I mean, it's just too hard to overlook that. I mean, but that'll also transition into this next guy I like. I mean, I think this guy is sandwiched right in between these 2 really popular plays in Jordan Spieth and Alexander Schauffele. And I think boy.
Actually, it's not. I got to cut you off. I just thought of something. So, before we get it, all right. So, before you fully dive into this, because I know you're going to stroke Morikawa. We all know it. It's all coming. Man, if we all make fun of that, I can just see the rage. I can feel the rage when you're typing in Discord. Like, if I say he sucks or something like that, or it's just so funny. All right. So, you and Big T, I saw your DM combo back and forth that he screenshot. You guys got an interesting bet this week. So You're on Brooks Koepka. Talk to us about that first, and then talk to us about the bet that you have with Big T.
All right, I'll talk to you about Brooks. I mean, on the Wednesday show, I was saying I hope he misses the cut and whatnot, and he did. And he actually came out in an interview today talking to a guy from Action Network, Sobel. And he's like, I was actually hoping to miss the cut. I got to Texas. I did what I wanted. And he's like, I know you don't want to hear this, but I was actually not even trying to make the cut or hoping to make the cut. And he's like, my knee was injured at the Masters. He's like, but now it's just hurt. He's like, I can play through pain. I can play through something that's just hurt. It's just something I got to do. He's like, I got to get out there and just remind these people that I can get back to where I was and take my third PGA championship this week. I mean, when you look at majors, you got since 2015, Brooks Koepka, 98 under par. Koepka, you got to stick with it. Koepka.
Yeah.
You got to stick with Koepka.
Yeah, you can't flip. I mean, it's the JT Hayes motto. I mean, once you go there, you can't go back. You know.
Absolutely. And then the next closest guy to him, and since 2015, Spieth at 31 strokes less. I mean, he just completely dominates these majors. And when you get him in these mid 9Ks, I mean, it's just hard not to have interest in this guy. His knee's feeling much better. He even made a pit stop in Kentucky last Saturday to play a little practice round with some friends, and Jenna was out there. He's going to have Jenna right beside him, stroking him the whole way. I mean, I think he's just definitely
Talk
getting
to us about this bet. So you like Brooks this week. I'm against you a little bit on that. I watched the interview too. He still says he has some time before he's fully recovered, but that's besides the point. This bet that you have with Big T. So it's Brooks Koepka against everyone else in the field. Well, aside from like the dusty golfers, is that what it is?
Well, I won the bet from him last week. We had a bet on Will Zalatoris or something last week, and I was like, I'll take Brooks Koepka for that 100 this week, and he's like, I'll do one better. He's like, I'll take everybody from 7K up against Brooks Koepka, and I was like, all right, so we're doing $10. Every guy, I think there's 61 guys from 7K all the way up. It's $10 head-to-head, Brooks versus every one of those guys.
Yeah,
if Brooks wins the event,
Snyder, you must hate money, man.
No.
Like I'm with Big T. Like I almost want to do that same thing because, dude, like I get what he's done in the past. Yes, he's been phenomenal at these majors. I mean, as of a month ago, the dude couldn't get down to read a freaking putt. I mean, he could not get down to look at a putt. And I get the talking points. I get the narratives associated with it. I can't even
does wonders.
Maybe, but I just can't fathom clicking that name. I mean, if he was cheaper, he should be like a 8K guy in this event. He should be a low 8K guy. He's still like 9.5. Like you have to make sacrifices to play him. But
I agree.
Hey, we've got on you about a couple takes the last 2 weeks, and you've been right and we've been wrong. I just happen to think this is the worst of all, though. So we'll see.
If he even like top 20s here, I'll profit in that. I mean, it's a guaranteed profit.
For sure. Yeah. If he tops 20, there's.
But we're not playing him the top 20 though. We're playing him to win this week. He's gonna roll in. He's gonna see the picture on the wall with his 2 other Wanamaker trophies, and the switch is gonna flip, and it's just gonna be Big Dick Brooks all over again.
I mean,
good luck with that.
Good luck. I can't endorse that, but and I'm a sucker for Major Brooks too. Like Vegas gives him no respect this week. 50-1 to win.
I mean, I'm not saying he's a lock play, but I'm just saying if he's going to be at 5% owned. I mean, you only have to play him at like 15% and you're 3x the field. I mean, you don't have to go all in on him or nothing, but I think he's got definite upside for.
Yeah, I mean, you're 3x the field, but you're like 15% automatic dead lineups too. So.
I think that's the exact same term you used when I said I was fading Bryson last week.
Yeah, that's what. I prefaced what I said by saying that the last couple of weeks we've made fun of a couple takes. And you were right and we were wrong. I take L's. I'm not like Big T. I take L's when I need to take the L. I took the L. This week, though, I think you're going to be taking a big, big L.
That's a definite possibility.
All right, Snyder, talk to us about the other guys in this range. So you like Brooks. We know you like Morikawa.
I mean, we can just. I think we can just talk through it for him on behalf of Snyder, right?
I mean, Morikawa is sandwiched right in between 2 of maybe the popular plays in the field. I think that's going to suppress Morikawa down to, maybe 10, 12% owned. I mean, and he is the defending PGA champion coming in, just the best ball striker on tour. He ranks first in par 4s from 450 to 500. And we'll see 8 of those holes here, which is more than usual. He's gaining 7.3 strokes approach on average over his last 5 greens. And I really think these Paspalum greens will help out a poor putter like him. Like we've seen him when he gets on with a putter, he'll gain 4 or 5 strokes and he'll win the event. I mean, I think that's something we could see here. Definitely still like Xander though. He thrives in these big time events, big game hunter. I mean, he's had seven top fives in his last 13 events. I mean, he's just third at the Masters. He was in contention until he hit that water ball in 16, which was a shot nobody had hit the whole event, and he leaves it short there. Great par 5 score, great sand save percentage. I think he second and tour on that. And then the guy I'm down here debating on is another high-owned guy, Victor Hovland. Hard to ignore what he's been doing. I mean, he just enters in great form off 2 third-place finishes in his last 2 events. I mean, he's just been lights out. His game sets up great for here. He's actually got 2 wins on these Paspalum greens as well. He ranks inside the top 5 in ball striking off the tee and opportunities gained over the last 24 rounds, which the guy right below him, Patrick Reed, I think could be a good pivot off him. Strong short game. He plays well in these big time events as well. And I think he's going completely overlooked this week.
Yeah. So I'll wait to get into how I feel about some of those plays you mentioned. When it's my turn, Hoop, talk to me about this 9K range. Is there anything you agree with Snyder with? You guys on the same page? Or are you different? Who are you on in this range?
Yeah, I mean, the guy that's going to be the most popular here is Victor Hovland, 9.3K, coming off back-to-back third-place finishes. So, of course, that obviously should set up well for him. He's popped in some of these majors as well. 9.3 is a very fair price tag on him, and he's like 18-1 to win this event in some spots. He'll have ownership. Like I said, a lot of times you're surprised when you open these contests on Thursday morning. These guys just aren't as popular as you think they're going to be. So definitely like Hovland here. Xander Schauffele is the other guy I'm looking at in this range. He's down a little bit, below that top tier guys. I mean, you're saving $900 from John Rahm. You're saving $2,000 from Rory down to Xander. Like that's a substantial price difference between him and some of these guys in the top range. Will he win? Probably not. He never wins. He always finishes like second or third or something. But at 9.6K, I'll take that. I like Morikawa in general. I think Morikawa is an awesome golfer. I think he's, one of the best on the PGA Tour. But, he's going to be a casualty for me just because of the price. I mean, 9.8K, that's up there, and you need him to perform this week. He's only $300 cheaper than Spieth. He's $200 more than Xander, 500 more than Hovland. I just like all those guys a little bit more than Morikawa. I mean, I'm with Snyder on the Morikawa love. I think Morikawa is phenomenal. I mean, he's the best iron player in the game, and it's not even close. I just, you have to make cuts here, and I don't think he'll be highly owned. So Snyder's going to be on, his guy at low ownership this week, which is obviously good in tournaments. But for me, it's just going to be Hovland. It's going to be Schauffele, a guy like Webb Simpson coming off the WD at 9.2K. This course doesn't set up well for him. Can't do that. Patrick Reed. I mean, I just don't play Patrick Reed, and he always does tend to get some ownership too. So, fading Patrick Reed, you gain a little bit of leverage. Patrick Cantlay's game is just a full disaster, like absolute disaster. If you're a Patrick Cantlay person and you think he's going to bounce back, you're going to get him at a very, very low number this week. But his game, he's just looked really, really bad. Cannot go there this week. So, like I said, it's going to be Schauffele and Hovland for me in this range.
Yeah, I'm kind of, in agreement with you there, Hoop. Like, so let me start with Morikawa. Snyder, I got a couple things I'm concerned with. He's not the longest guy off the tee. He makes up for it on approach. I'm with you. He's the best guy on approach, best ball striker on tour. And the problem that I see, though, is, man, like if you look at these greens in the roll-offs and how severe they are, you're really going to have a good around the green game to compete here. Even if you are that good on approach, his around the green game isn't that good, and his putting has been a disaster. Do I think he makes the cut? Yeah. Do I think he could contend? Oh, for sure. But he's a cut that I'm making. What I want is more Xander exposure. So I got on Xander at the Wells Fargo. He did have the favorable weather draw, as did Rory. that no one's talking about. Rory benefited from that. That was probably the most severe weather draw that we've seen all season. Rory, he had the good side of that draw. So if you're not a Rory guy, that's just, another thing to keep in mind. I got on Xander, and he ended up being the highest owned guy for me that week. And I just felt like, gosh, this guy's game is at a good place. He's trending in the right direction. All the metrics are there. And this week, it's going to be like, if he's not my highest owned guy, he's going to be up there for sure. This guy just competes in these events. The longer the course, the better for him. And if you just go back and look at his major record, sure, people out there saying, Buddy doesn't win. I don't care. This guy has 8 top 10s, 6 inside the top 5 over his last 15 attempts at majors. He only has 1 missed cut since 2017. His approach game is good right now. His around the green game is good. The thing that's let him down at times is his putter. And if it's true about these greens, if they do putt true, and if we see bad putters do better here, like Keegan finished 3rd here, I believe, in 2012, Xander is going to be there right at the end, and I want as much exposure as I can get, which is why I'm cutting Koepka, which is why I'm cutting Matsuyama, which is why I'm cutting Webb Simpson, which is why I'm cutting Patrick Cantlay. I agree with you guys. His game is just a disaster. I guess he's come out here like 2 or 3 times over the past weekends, but I don't think that's going to be enough to save him this week. Patrick Reed is the guy I'm torn at. So I have him as undecided, and I'm waiting. I'm going through the pool. I'm trying to get down to a certain number. If I'm not to that number, Patrick Reed could make my pool. His record on good course or on hard courses, they're very good. The difference this week is it's a long course, and he's actually not the longest hitter off the tee, which is why I'm undecided on him and I have a check mark against him. Worst comes, if I'm only on Xander and Hovland on this range, I feel very good about that. Those are my 1 and 2s. Snyder, what was your 1 and 2 in this range?
Morikawa 1, and my leverage guy will be Brooks. I am not going to play Brooks like heavy exposure, but I think he'll make one of my 3 main teams for sure, and I'll be 15-20% in GPPs possibly.
You better go firing outright on him at 50 to 1.
Oh, absolutely.
If he's healthy, you're never going to get those kind of odds again.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not going to play him in DraftKings, at least throw $10 or $20 on him. I mean, you're never going to get $20 to win 1,000 on Brooks in a major again, I don't think.
I like the move in the betting markets way more than the DFS streets, by the way.
Because if he's not in it towards the end, he's just gonna go back to hanging out with Jenna. He's not gonna, So, all right, Hoop, give me your 1 and 2, then take us into the 8K range.
Yeah, so Hovland and Schauffele. I mean, these are the guys I feel real good about in this range. I'll mostly be fading the rest of those guys. Now, the 8K range for me personally, I think is the toughest range to figure out. I know what I want to do up top. I know what I want to do in the 9K range. I'm very uncertain about what to do in the 9K range. Cam Smith right at the top is playing phenomenal golf, and he competes in big field events. I mean, you look at what he's done the last 5, the Genesis 4th, Workday 11th, the Players 17th, the Masters 10th. If around the green is a big factor this week, which it sounds like it's going to be because these greens can be tough to hit, there's not many guys that are better than Cam Smith around the green. And, he's right up there with guys like Jordan Spieth. So Cam Smith is a guy I have my eye on. Will Zalatoris, we've been riding Big Willie for a little while here. He missed the cut at the Wells Fargo, bounced back with the 17th last week. Most of that, though, was in the 4th round. He fired, I think, a 6-under, I want to say, 5 or 6 under in the last round to kind of make a little run last week. But he's a guy that obviously the big stage doesn't scare him. I mean, we saw it at the Masters, finishing 2nd. He looked great there. I feel like I can only do one of those 2, though, just the way things are shaping up. So I want to get your guys' take on that. Daniel Berger at 8.7, just kind of another mispriced guy. I feel like he should be in the 9K range. 8.7. I mean, he's been so damn steady we're talking a year and a half now, where he's been just a very steady guy. can compete in the big fields. Just rarely screws you. You know, he just rarely goes out there and misses a cut. When he makes the cut, he tends to compete. Tony Finau, big Tony Finau guy. I love Tony Finau. Played well at the Masters, but outside of that, his game has been in shambles, and he always plays well at the Masters. So that's the one thing that kind of concerns me. And the Masters is one of those course history places where guys that are in bad form, they go to Augusta. If they always play good at Augusta, they tend to play good. Even Jordan Spieth, when he was in the shitter, he'd go to Augusta and he'd always play well there. Is that the case with Tony Finau? Maybe it is. I don't know. So I'm torn on Tony Finau. I don't think he'll be highly owned. Getting leverage on him, getting above the field should be pretty easy this week. The course, if this is a course where we want bombers, that's what he does pretty well, but the driver hasn't been great either lately. So it kind of scares me. Scotty Scheffler at 8.5. I mean, I just can never get Scheffler right. And he's kind of going into that category for me where, you know what, if I fade him and he fucks me, that's fine. I'm just going to not play him. So I don't know. Like I said, this range, I just don't feel great with. I'll probably just be off Scheffler. And, like I said, if he does well, good for him. Was riding Fitzpatrick for a while. Man, that performance last week, he just never got into it. I mean, an absolute birdie fest. He couldn't get anything going at all. Sungjae just doesn't seem like the right spot for him. Fleetwood, been fading him for a while. I'll just continue to do that. Justin Rose, I don't know why he's up in this range. I mean, I know he did well at the Masters, but again, Augusta is a place where the guys typically, if they play well there, they come in and play well. I'm not going to go to Rose. I'm not a Hatton guy, and I'm not a Louis Oosthuizen guy, despite how well he plays at majors. So definitely, Berger, he's going to be probably the highest guy in this range. But like I said in the opening, I'm not overly worried about ownership in any spot. Cam Smith, have some interest in Zalatoris. But like I said, I'm open in this range. I want you guys to kind of sell me on some dudes because I just don't feel great about it.
Yeah, I plan on doing that. I have a very strong take on a couple of these guys. Snyder, dive into this 8K range. So like, before I hand it off to you, I hear everyone, and I agree with this, but I hear everyone talking about how loaded the 7K range is. And they're like, oh, skip over the 8K range, 7K range is loaded. I agree with you. And what I hope is that this 8K range ends up, getting lost in the mix. If that happens, I'm going to absolutely love it from an ownership standpoint this week.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the guys hoops on here. Cam Smith, he's had 5 straight top 17 finishes plus a win in that team event. His short game has been great for him. He's been kind of hit or miss off the tee, and he doesn't find many fairways, which is a little worrisome, but I still like him. Zalatoris continues to just be great with his irons. He gained over 9.5 strokes approach last week, but the putter just let him down last week. He couldn't get any putts rolling. I mean, that putter's been up and down for him this year, it seems. 6 of the last 7 events, he's gained over 3 strokes approach, and I think he just really sets up well for here. And he showed in these big time events like the Masters, the U.S. Open. He's been right up there towards the top of the leaderboard, and he's not afraid of this. He's not afraid of the moment when he gets there. The guy I really want to be overweight on this range is Daniel Berger. Great value price tag on him. He's just been playing just absolute consistent great golf since the start of 2020. He's coming off that 3rd place finish where he had a strong push that Sunday. Can't remember what he shot, like 64 maybe or something. I mean, he has a win and 5 top 10 finishes in his 9 events in 2021, which is really good. He's off back-to-back events where he's gained over 5 strokes with his irons. Another good stat. His putting has also been coming around. He's gained in 6 of his last 7 events. So I really like Berger in this range. Finau, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him. I mean, he's been good old top 10 Tony is what we used to call him, but lately it's just been a little rough. I mean, he's been having trouble hitting greens in regulation and finding fairways off the tee, which that driver is usually his strong point of his game. I mean, he did look good at the Masters. He's definitely in play here. Scheffler, Fitzpatrick, I think I'm just going to fade those guys with Hoop. I don't really have any strong conviction on any of them. All the way down to the 8K, I don't really have any conviction on any guys other than mainly Daniel Berger in this range and Will Zalatoris.
Yeah. So for me, Cam Smith, starting up with him, definitely a guy you want to be on this week. His scrambling is just insane. He's always there in these big events. He's not like a guy. So his best finish at a PGA Championship is T25, and that was in 2015. He hasn't had the best PGA Championship record, but we also haven't seen the type of form that he's in. We haven't seen him in that type of form. And when you think of this type of course, a little bit different than what we usually see with the PGA Championship. A little bit more feel, just right out there on the coast. And I think it's just a course that's really going to fit his game. Someone I want to be overweight on. Will Zalatoris, man, this guy's so consistent. The only like issue I would have is this guy going to get burnt out? He's playing every single week, and now it's a major, but he was phenomenal at the Masters. So I'm not really buying that like burnt out narrative. If this is a second shot course, it's going to fit his game very well. Daniel Berger, I agree with you guys. Very solid play in this range. I like Scotty Scheffler. If you look at the Vegas odds, Vegas is giving him a ton of respect. 35-1 to win, 3-1 to top 10 here. I get what Hoop's saying though. Like he just, man, when you get on this guy, it seems like he just doesn't get it done. He was right. I know he's a big game hunter type. At least in his interviews, he talks a big game. Like he wants these big tournaments and he wants to perform well in them. So I'm definitely going to have him in my pool. And then after that, it's a lot of cuts for me. Fitzpatrick, I'm not on him. I don't know. I said it. I think I said it last week, Hoop. Like I never get him right. I was off him last week, and he just sucks whenever I play him. So it's
you got him right. You got him right last week.
Yeah, he's not a long hitter. I know he's good, and he does play good on hard courses, but I'm off him. I'm off Sung Jae. I'm off Rose. I'm off Hatton. Those guys for sure. Louis, I'm kind of, he's another guy. He hits a ton of fairways. He's a very good long iron player. His form is better than we've seen, but he just doesn't, he has that one major win, and then it's like, man, it's just like he's always overhyped is my concern with him. I have him check marked. I want him in the pool, but he's a guy that I would be okay cutting for someone else to get my pool down to where it needs to be. Let me go to the guy that I am going to be very overweight on, unless like something crazy like a weather draw comes up. I do want to say that, like if the winds change come Wednesday and there's a favorable weather draw, that would take me off a guy like this. But Tony Finau, 40-1. So I think he's going to be very low owned. He's missed 3 of his last 4 events. Missed the cut at 3 of his last 4 events. The one event that he made the cut in was the Masters, which he finished 10th. And if you go and look at the majors, he owns 8 top 10s in his last since 18 out of 12 attempts. So he's played in 12 majors. In 8 of those times, he has top 10s. And watching his interview today, he went and played this course as far back as you could. And he was one of the guys who's just like, I love this course. He goes, it reminds me a lot of courses back home I played where I try to make them as long as possible. He said it reminded him of what was last year's Harding Park. It reminded him of that course, which he finished very well in. I get the feeling that this guy just something in these majors. So maybe it's like a Brooks type thing, but I want to be on him. I hope he's low owned, 8,600. Here's what I'm thinking this week. If I can get extremely overweight on him and Xander, I can do so much with my build. I can go up. I can eliminate a lot of the crap in the 6K range. You can do a lot with that build. And they're 2 guys that you got to love their upside and top 10 upside, especially in majors. So I'm going to be very high on Tony Finau this week. I know the Wednesday crew is going to say always next week. It is what it is. I just think Tony's a guy that maybe I'm not going to say he doesn't care about regular events. He obviously cares, but something about majors and long, difficult courses where this guy pops, I'm going to get on. I'm going to be very overweight. Him and Cam Smith are my two favorite plays in this range. Snyder, what was your 1 and 2 in this range?
Daniel Berger and Will Zalatoris.
I like it. Again, I got to remind everyone, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us to keep this free for all of you. If you're not a member, you should be. And if you want to come check us out, use the code RPS25. That is RPS Heater 25. That's going to get you 25% off your first payment on any of the packages that you choose to use over here at Run Pure Sports. You're going to want that this week. We have full breakdowns, and we're going to absolutely crush the PGA Championship. Hoop, I'm going to kick it over to you. You're 1 and 2, and then take us into the 7K range.
Before I do that, Snyder, what's the nickname for Tony? Top 10 Tony?
Yeah.
Top 10 Tony.
Top 10 Tony.
Yeah, if he doesn't turn his game around, we're gonna have to change that name to Top Golf Tony, because might not be in the tour for next year. Was that a good one or no?
Yeah, that's good.
I think his card is safe for quite some time.
Yeah,
he's not at risk like Flower is. So
I couldn't resist the dad joke. All right, in this range, it's definitely Berger. I just think he's too cheap. As it stands now, Cam Smith will be my number 2. Snyder, who do you like more, Cam Smith or Zalatoris?
Zalatoris. I'm not sure on Cam Smith's driving, and
yeah,
that just worries me a little bit here with the winds and stuff. I mean,
yeah.
I think Zalatoris is a little safer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. So it's definitely Berger. I'm still deciding on. I could even play Fino. I don't know. This range is the one I'm most uncertain about, but the next range is one I'm not uncertain about because it's absolutely loaded. I mean, the range is loaded, and I feel like a lot of these guys should be way more expensive than they are. I mean, a lot of these guys down here in the 7K range, to me, should be 8K golfers. And it starts right at the top. We were at the top and we were talking about guys that have just been playing so well. We talked about Justin Thomas, talked about Jordan Spieth. I mean, a guy to me that has been playing top 10 golf is Abe Answer. I mean, 7.9K, he has been phenomenal. I mean, just absolutely phenomenal we're talking for months, 7-8 events here, all top 26 or better. And he's kind of trending in the right direction too. At the Masters, he was 26, went to the RBC Heritage 18th, 5th place at Valspar, 2nd at the Wells Fargo. I mean, the Wells Fargo, that event really shouldn't have fit his game all that well, but he went out there and got a 2nd place. He's just playing such good golf. One of my favorite plays in this field. Neiman, another guy, super consistent, 7-8, no clue why he's in this range. He's an 8K guy. Paul Casey, been playing very, very solid golf. I mean, we've been on Paul Casey quite a bit. I see no reason to get off of him at 7-7. I mean, you're talking these guys down here, their prices, they're less than the average roster spot. I mean, the average roster spot on DraftKings is 8.3K. These guys down here that have been top 20 machines are less than just an average spot for your golfers this week. Corey Connors, 7.6K. We've been on Connors every week. He hasn't disappointed. 43rd at the Wells Fargo. Yeah, that's not great. But guess what? That doesn't absolutely end your week if you're on Corey Connors and he gets 43rd. He made the cut. He was competitive. He's just been so good. I mean, just so good. And this is a guy that people around the industry seem to hate on for some reason because he's not a good putter. Well, guess what? Now he's putting good and he's performing well. Maybe he got better at putting. I don't get the argument. Sam Burns, 7.5K. Again, another mispriced guy. We've been Sam Burns guys here on the show, and a 1st at the Valspar, 2nd at the AT&T last week. He's going to have high ownership here this week. 7.5K. I should preface that. High ownership, but nothing to be afraid to go to. I'm totally fine going to Sam Burns here just because there's so many guys in this range. I think we see it all kind of get spread out. yes, I do think Burns might get the most, but by the most, that could be like 17, 18%. That's not going to scare me away. Another RPS favorite, Brian Harman, just continues to get it done. And people make the argument this course doesn't fit him well. Well, guess what? The Players' Championship really didn't fit him well. The Wells Fargo didn't fit him well. 18th, tied for third at the Players. He plays good. He's just playing good everywhere. The course really doesn't matter for Harman. And we're talking about around the green, potentially around the green being a something to look at this week. He's one of the best in the PGA around the green. So give me some Harman. Matt Wallace, we've been riding Matt Wallace, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, where he made the commitment to play full time here on the PGA Tour. And since he's made that announcement, he's been one of the better guys at the Valero, 3rd, Masters, 34th, RBC, 18th, Wells Fargo, 6th. Another guy that things are trending in the right direction for. He is a guy that is also contended at majors, and he kind of shows up for these big events. Definitely going to be on Wallace. I mean, it just continues in this range. Charlie Hoffman. Not many guys have been playing better than Charlie Hoffman. The one thing I'll always say about Charlie Hoffman and even Keegan Bradley, who's the same price at 7.3K. Okay. These are guys, when they're hot, they're hot. Like they get hot and they just play well. Keegan played the best golf of his career, 7.3K. Again, this is a guy that is just wildly underpriced. Cameron Tringale, Jason Kokrak, our boy Chris Kirk, Griot, all in play. I mean, I'm going to have to make some cuts here, but I have interest in all those guys I just mentioned. So it's going to be tough for me because I'm going to have to cut some guys here that I feel real good about.
Yeah, I agree with. I'm on the same page with you on a lot of these guys. I made a lot of cuts in this range. I'm feeling very good about where I'm at. Let me kick it over to Snyder first. It's a big 7K range, and as everyone's been saying all week, it's loaded. I agree, it is. And this is what's going to make it very interesting this week, getting this range right. Who are you on? What are the guys that you're going to be definitely overweight on, Snyder?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be echoing a lot of what Hoop said there. I mean, Abe Answer says 7 straight top 26 finishes, and he's off back-to-back top 5s. I mean, the interesting thing about Answer is the last 2 events, he's actually gained putting, which, I mean, that had really been holding him back in those 5 previous events, which is a good thing to see. I mean, he just sets up well here. I mean, Joaquin Neiman, he's had 17 straight made cuts. I mean, just another guy that should excel here. He's gaining strokes across the board over his last 10 events. Great iron player. Paul Casey, 7-7. I mean, he was off to a great start this year. I mean, he had a win over in Dubai, 5 top 10s this year worldwide. And he nearly won this event last year if it wasn't for the Goat Morikawa shooting like 64 the final day, but sets up well again here. Burnsy just on a heater. Hard to ignore what he's doing there. I mean, just great. Harman, he's put together 4 straight top 20 finishes, highlighted by a 3rd at the Players, and he finished 12th at the Masters. So he's showing up for these big time events. 7-4, that's a really good, tasty price on him there. He hits a lot of fairways. I think he's a safe option. Matt Wallace, we've been on him lately. Strong value here. Just look at his recent finish. He's finished 6th at the Wells Fargo, 3rd at the Valero Texas Open. I mean, he's gaining strokes across the board, hitting his irons well. Short game's been there for him. The Euro guy, he should really mesh well with this course setup and the possible wins that could come. Then we got Keegan. I mean, Keegan's kind of a little scary to roster at times, but I mean, he's been playing great lately. He's got 8 straight made cuts, 2 top 10s over his last 6 events. And he's finished inside the top 30 in every one of those. And his iron play is great. Long irons are awesome. Kokrak, I kind of feel like Kokrak's a little disrespected here at only 7-1. I mean, he's had 4. He's been really good. Top 13s in 4 of his last 5 events. He's great off the tee. Hits his irons well.
And he's a guy not many people are talking about. He's kind of like going overlooked almost, which is shocking to me because he's one of the first guys I looked at when I looked at this pricing. Like, this is just an egregious price for a guy that's been playing just about as good as anyone on tour.
Yeah, I agree. And I first got onto him like a year or so ago, 2 years ago. I noticed that Peter Jennings, he was a big Kokrak guy, and he was just crushing with him, and that kind of got me looking to him. Matt Jones, 7-1. I think he's going to go over. Look down here. He's made 14 of his last 15 cuts. This Aussie should set up well for this layout and the wins if they fire up. He had a win at Honda, finished 8th at the Genesis even. Chris Kirk, our boy Chris Kirk, he's down here at flat 7K. I mean, just been great for us this year. He's got 3 top 10s. He's averaging 4 strokes gained tee to green over his last 10 events, so that's solid. I think he makes a good value piece for GPPs, and yeah, there's so many options here. You definitely have to cut some of these guys.
Yeah, Matt Jones is a phenomenal mention. Same with Kokrak. All right, so Abe answer. I'm not going to go repeat. I agree with both you guys there. Mispriced. He could be 8,600, and I would have interest. Neiman is a guy I'm unsure of. He's not been good in majors. He's miscut 5 of his last 8 attempts, but he's his game and form is obviously trending in the right direction. He's long off the tee. So he's one of those guys where if I get my field and you know, I have the guys that I want, I'm okay, you know, eliminating them if need be. But if I have room, I'll slide them in there for sure. So Paul Casey, I agree with you guys there. Let me get to my first disagreement. And you guys are not going to like this, but I'm hopping off Corey. So we got to make cuts here. And actually, let me go to Dylan Smith in chat. Phenomenal question. You know, he said we like to focus on strategy, which we do. 84% of the field below 8K. You know, is it smart with 84% of the field below 8K? Is it smarter to focus on getting overweight a few people there, or to go up and get overweight on, I think, the higher price guys is what he was saying. I love the idea of getting overweight in this range. I think it's going to make you different. What we're going to see, I guarantee you on Thursday, when I look at ownership, we're going to see a lot of people out there sprinkle, go 5 to 10%, every single guy in this range to make sure they get a little piece. Don't do that. You gotta eliminate. So first elimination for me, pains me to do it because I really like this guy, but there's some issues that I have with him, and I wanted to hop off at the right time. It's Corey Connors. So he's not the longest hitter. He relies heavily on his short game, his approach game. He's not good around the greens. And so here's the thing with Corey Connors. If his form continues, which he didn't look as good the last couple of weeks, and he's had aces over the last 2 or 3 weeks that were helping him out as well. But man, if he's not hitting these greens and he's relying on, scrambling, I think he's going to struggle. I think the distance is going to, the other thing too is he's going to have a lot of longer irons into these greens. And so I'm cutting Corey Connors. I'm going to be off of him. I'm off Leishman. I know people are talking him up. Aussie win player. I'm off him. He's not been good in the PGA Championship for some reason. So I haven't been playing him either. I'm big on that. If you've been playing a guy and he's been very good for you, then play him. But if you haven't been playing a guy and you're randomly hopping on to someone that you're not playing for no reason, don't do that. It's not, what I like to do. I'm very high on Sam Burns, Brian Harmon, Matt Wallace, all 3 phenomenal plays. So for me in this upper 7K range, I'm high on Answer, Casey, Burns, Harmon, Wallace. So that's 5 guys. Then I'm cutting Westwood and everyone else up. I'm undecided on Woodland and Neiman. The other guys, so I got a few more. Keegan Bradley, very high on him. He's going to be probably one of my highest owned guys. Charlie Hoffman, very high on him. His approach game is very good right now. His form is good. He's a good win player traditionally. I'm off Homa. I'm off Siwoo Kim. I'm off Wise, Henley, Horschel, Tringali, Poulter, Flower, many of those guys going down there. I am high on Harris English. He's a guy that's trending in the right direction. He's his best finish at a PGA Championship is 19th. And, he hasn't missed a cut at a major since 2014. Now, these are my notes. Yeah, if that's right, that's pretty incredible. This guy.
Who's that?
Harris English.
Really?
Maybe I was sipping on the bourbon a little too heavily when I was. But I mean, I don't think he's played in many. But let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, that is impressive.
But yeah, I know.
What was the deal with Flower? They just gave him a pity invite here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Ricky Flower. Hate to see it.
So the other thing with Harris too is he's actually, his game around the green is very strong. He's a good putter. So even if he misses these greens, I think he's going to lean on his scrambler, which is very good. Matt Jones, Jason Kokrak, the other two guys that I'm very high on, and then Grillo. Grillo is another ball striker. His game reminds me of Keegan. If it's true about putting here, those are two guys that are going to pop. So in this big 7K range, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys that I'm very high on. And that honestly could fit. If I'm trying to, my goal is right around 35. I think 35 is a good number. Ultimately under 39 or under 40. But honestly, I'm always trying to get down to that 35 number. And I could see all of those guys kind of making it into my pool. The one wild card, Cam Champ, I'll probably eliminate him, but he has started to show up in majors. He's done very well at the Masters, and he did very good last year at Harding Park, and he's made 2 cuts in PGA championships 2 years in a row. Now, I know you go look at his kind of what he's done recently. It's gross, very gross, but if distance is a big deal here, I think that's going to be a nice advantage for him, and it should hopefully help to make up in the other areas of his game. But I'm undecided on him. Most likely I'll cut him. But if it works out, it works out. I wouldn't mind adding him in over some of these other guys. My favorite 2 in this range, it's easy for me. It's Keegan Bradley and it's Abe Answer. 2 popular guys, but doesn't matter for me. I'm going to be very overweight on them. So I don't really care where the field's at. So they're not going to be as high as where I'm at. I'll tell you that. So Hoop, what were your 1 and 2 in the 7K range?
Yeah, I mean, loaded range. I mean, I rattled off a ton of guys. I'm going to go for some guys here from a GPP perspective, guys I think that could go little overlooked. The first is Kokrak. I assumed that he'd be really, really popular when I first opened this up, the player pool, when I first opened it up earlier in the week, and not hearing a lot about Kokrak. So, I mean, give me Kokrak at 7.1K. I mean, he's been playing better than just about anyone. Then Charlie Hoffman as well. I mean, I think, a lot of people will be on Keegan. I mean, people will be on Burns and stuff in this range. Hoffman has a chance to go overlooked, and he's been playing phenomenally well too. So Kokrak and Hoffman are my two favorites for like GPP stuff.
So the note on Harris English, hasn't missed a cut at a major since 2014. T21 at the Masters, 19th at the PGA Championship, 4th, 58th, 46th. All the way back to there was a gap there. He didn't play in 2018. He only played in the U.S. Open in 19. So it's not like there's a ton of attempts there, but it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 straight made cuts at majors, and he's rounding into very good form. So I think he's a guy to definitely include in your player pools this week. Snyder, give me your 1 and 2, and then take us into the 6K range.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a couple guys a little lower in this 7K range. I like a couple of those guys up near the top, but Matt Wallace, and I do like Jason Kokrak this week. I feel like he's disrespected with this price tag. And then I run down here to the 6K range. Ryan Palmer, 6'9". He's made 13 straight cuts. I think he'll be popular down here. I mean, the off the green game's been strong. He's been gaining 2 strokes on average over the last 10 events. The approach game, though, it's been trending downward over his last 3 events. It kind of makes me a little leery there. I think that could be a solid fade. Around the green game hasn't been the best with him either. So if he's going to be popular, I think I might just fade him. Charles Schwartzel is my favorite guy in this range. I really like the way that his game's been trending upward, going 26th, 21st, 14th, and 3rd last week. The approach play has just been elite. He's gaining 6.2 strokes, 6.8, and 4.6 strokes over his last 3 events. The short game's kind of been hit or miss for him, but he's gaining off the tee in his last 3 events. I look for him to continue this hot streak, and I think he sets up well for this course. Alex Noren, 6'6", another guy that's been trending upward. He's had 3 straight top 25 finishes and has made 8 of his last 10 cuts in 2021. I think he makes for a solid play here in this mid 6K range with top 25 upside. Brendan Steele, just another consistent cut maker. He's made his last 10 cuts. Hasn't finished that well in his last 2 events since his 3rd place at Honda, but I think he's another good long iron player that could do well here. He's good off the tee as well. Then my punt play I'm looking at down here at the bottom, 6'2", Denny McCarthy. Pure punt play here, near min price. He's coming off his first missed cut in his last 7 events at the Wells Fargo. He's really good short game wise. I mean, the iron play can be a little hit or miss, but he made the cut in last year's PGA, and I think he holds some decent upside here at near min price. And that's really all I'm looking for at the moment. I'm kind of going to be leaning on you here, AP, on this 6K range like normal.
No pads out. Real quick. So we got our boy in the chat asking about Sergio Garcia. I skipped over Sergio, but rightfully so. Sergio's been terrible at PGA Championships. Absolutely. He's five straight missed cuts at PGA Championships, 11 missed cuts at PGA Championships in his career. So, no, I'm not playing Sergio. Easy cut for me. And he's playing pretty bad right now anyway. So, very good, Snyder. I like your breakdown there in the 6K range. Let me send it over to you. What are you doing with the 6K range this week?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be down here a ton just because of how strong the 7K range is, but I definitely will have exposure to, some guys down here. I agree with the Ryan Palmer call. I mean, he's a guy, what was it last week? We were paying 9.1 or something last week, 9.1K. Now he's 6.9K. He disappointed last week, but like you said, he just has made a shit ton of cuts. What do you say, 13 straight?
13.
I mean, that's a big time number. We're talking where we think the cut might be easier to make this week because so many, amateurs and former champions and all that stuff. So 6'9", have interest in him. Carlos Ortiz at 6.9K, like him as well. Kind of things are trending in the right direction for him. Made the cut at the Wells Fargo, 21st last week. Stuart Sink. I mean, we've been playing Sink. And the results have been very good for him. I mean, had the 19th, 12th at the Masters, won the RBC, made the cut, 37th at the Wells Fargo. And the one thing that we've talked about a lot here, he kind of got a little longer off the tee, which should be beneficial at this golf course. I will definitely be on our boy Stewie Sink. Agree with the Schwartzel call. I mean, I haven't really been playing Schwartzel all that much, but it's tough to deny. I mean, I've been stubborn and really haven't played him, but what he's done lately has been very impressive. 26th at the Masters, 21st at the Wells Fargo, 14th, and then 3rd last week. This is a trend in the right direction. Every week he's gotten better. Yes, this is going to be a stronger, more difficult test for him, but at 6.8K, what's really the risk? I mean, there's just not much risk at that price tag, 6.8. So definitely I'm going to get on Schwartzel this week. And the one thing that I like about this range, a lot of people are hesitant to come down here. You look at those guys in the 7K range and they're the big sexy names and very appealing. We love all those guys. We're going to play all those guys we just talked about, but people get hesitant, especially in majors, to come down here. So you don't really need to worry about ownership at all. Couple cheaper guys that I have interest in. Guy I haven't played really at all lately, but Alex Noren, another guy. Things are trending in the right direction for him. He's only 6.6K, 4 straight made cuts, 3 straight top 25 or better performances, 6.6K. Large field MME is going to be on some Alex Noren, and then the last guy, Taylor Gooch, 6.6K, another guy that, just seems like a very safe bet to make the cut. He's made the cut in, it looks like 6 out of his last 7 events. And that includes some tougher fields too. I mean, made the cut at the Players and finished 5th, 12th at the Genesis, which is a tough test. Just seems like a safe bet to make the cut here. So I like him. It's probably about it. I don't hate that Denny McCarthy call at 6.2K. Just looking at some of these other names. Yeah, that's probably going to be just about it for me.
Yeah, I like it. Very good. Yeah, I agree with a lot of you guys kind of in this range. And, I really want to limit my exposure to this range because I think, what I'm thinking about is if people are really trying to get a little underweight on the 8K range, loading up on the 7K range, and then maybe loading up on Rory or some of these guys up top, Rahm, et cetera, it's going to mean, means they're going to punt. But there are a couple really good plays down here. Carlos the Kid Ortiz. Let's start with him. Man, this dude can bomb it. Absolutely can bomb it off the tee. Vegas is giving him some respect in this range. And the PGA Championship, thing about a PGA Championship is it's a little more forgiving than your U.S. Opens and some of these other major championships. You see some of these guys kind of contend and compete. The other thing about Carlos Ortiz is he plays at a lot of these events like the Mayakoba, where they're playing on these Paspalum greens. He finished second in T8 there, his last two trips there, which very recently, so within the last 2 years. He's very good around the green, and as I said, his distance is good. I love Carlos Ortiz this week. Stuart Sink, very high on him as well. He's, I think, Hoop, you said it right, his distance. It's something he's really perfected. Ton of interest in him. 125-1, 7 to win, 7-1 to top 10. That's that's better than Jason Kokrak, who's more than him. That's better than Charlie Hoffman, who's a lot more expensive than him. That is just as good as Matt Wallace almost. And so,
by the way, let me know when you're ready. I got the equipment ready.
I got you. I mean, I'm kind of between. I don't want to make it super obvious, but because the guy, if you want one 6K guy that's just an absolute smash play, it's Charles Schwartzel. You guys already mentioned him. His form is incredible. He owns a really strong record in PGA Championships too. So that was the next thing I looked at. He's obviously a major winner. He won the Masters, but he also has a very strong record of PGA Championships. 5 top 10s in majors since 2011. So a guy that always contends, getting a lot of love from Vegas. 7-1 to top 10 here. We got Thomas Peters, who I don't know if Hoop said it or not, or we said it the last week. Just a guy that I don't always is popular or whatever. I got him in my pool just because he has the distance, and his PGA Championship record relative to the other majors is actually decent. T23, T6 cut, and an 86 at PGA Championships. He's a very good iron player and very good around the green. I don't love it. And then we got Joel Damon. Joel Damon's having one of the best years he's ever had, 6,400. And he's actually done very well at PGA Championships, T10, T71 last 2 years. He's very good at hitting fairways. And what I think of there's two guys so the next guy, I think he's in a similar boat. Joel Damon, he's got his win. The pressure, I think, this year is kind of off for him. And so that type of mentality coming to a place like this, I think is going to be huge. His win came at the Punta Cana, a much easier course, I know, but Paspalum greens again. So I have a ton of interest in him. The notebook play of the week, though, I got to go to my guy, Wyndham Clark. He was an alternate. He got in because Vijay Singh, I believe, withdrew. He made an ace today on 17. He had a little baby swing with a 4-iron into the wind. I mean, all right. So Wyndham Clark, if you want a bomber, Wyndham Clark is one guy on tour that hangs with Bryson and that has outdriven Bryson many of times. His distance is sneaky good, very long off the tee. He struggles with just overall course management, making dumb mistakes, dumb decisions, which, man, there's a lot of areas here where he could definitely get into trouble. But I love Wyndham Clark. Vegas is giving him some respect. I mean, the odds down in this range are all very terrible anyway, but 300-1 to win as an alternate, getting in. The other thing about these alternates, you see it all the time. They like just come out swinging free, having a good time because they weren't expecting to play anyway. And the pressure's kind of off. So 6,600, I love Wyndham Clark. He's going to be in my MME pool. If I had to pick is he going to be my highest owned guy in this range? Probably not. It would probably be Charles Schwartzel or Stuart Sink. I really respect Stuart Sink's game and where it's at right now. This dude has a sun on this bag, and he's just playing phenomenal. Hoop, you've said it for like so many weeks in a row now. Like this guy, you just playing. Like he's going to make the cut, and he's going to be there. Like what do you need at 6,900? I mean, you'd be happy with, top 25, right?
Yeah.
And
make
he's
the
got
cut
that kind of
top
upside.
30.
Yep. So my 1 and 2, I'm going to say Wyndham Clark and Charles Schwartzel. Snyder, what was your 1 and 2 in this range?
I'm going to go Charles Schwartzel and give me Denny McCartney for the punt and play.
Denny?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the playbook. Oh man.
Don't mind
Snyder.
him.
I think I even said that to you. I was like, come on, Snyder. Denny?
6'2".
I can drive farther than Denny, man. He's a putter. Oh man. Just kidding. Who? You're 1 and 2 in this range?
Ryan Palmer and Schwartzel. I feel good about those guys.
Yeah, I like that. Actually, Ryan Palmer is a guy that as you mentioned, he's increased his distance, and I kind of overlooked him. I'm gonna have to re-give him a look. All right, let's go to our winners and then final thoughts on the week. So how we do it each and every week, we're gonna give who we think is gonna win. Odds necessarily not factored into the equation, and then we're gonna give more of a longer shot. Snyder, do you have your picks ready?
Absolutely. The GOAT Morikawa will go back-to-back this week.
Oh, Snyder.
And then
come on, man.
Let's throw Charles Schwartzel out there at plus 110. Why not?
Oh, yeah. Schwartzel's going to finish higher than Morikawa this week is the thing.
Absolutely not.
I mean, he might. I think he will. I'm going to have to slide in. We'll see.
Give us some lunch.
All right. God, more. You love this guy, man. I know I love my guys, but man, do you ever not play him? Like, real quick, before we go to Hoop, do you ever just fade him any week?
I like money, so I typically don't like to fade him.
All right.
When you have guys like Jack Nicholson and Tiger Woods and all these guys just commenting on how good this kid's swing is, and he's so young and he's taking on this pressure and stuff, and it doesn't even faze him, and he's only 21, 22?
Yeah.
Maybe he's 23. I don't know.
Good points. All right. Hoop.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of guys we like. I'm just going to go with the guy that's playing the best overall, Jordan Spieth. So give me Spieth to win. Come down a little cheaper. I'm going to go it's a lot of tasty options. Give me Keegan. Give me Keegan to get it done as a long shot.
Oh man. Okay. That was my long shot. I'm gonna have to, he might be my highest owned guy. Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna switch it up. Because actually I was, all right. So I'm gonna go Justin Thomas. I just got a boring pick, I know, but he's gonna get it right.
That's a shocker.
I know, but it's a PGA Championship. He's gonna win many PGA Championship titles. The other guy, I mean, the odds aren't that deep, but he's had a taste of victory earlier this year, and he lost in a playoff. But it's going to be Tony Finau. I think he's going to break through. Tony Finau, 40-1, perfect course. I love his attitude. And I was looking at the comments in chat. I was looking at Big T saying next week, AP, next week. There's always next week. There is always next week. But Tony's going to get it done for me. No one's going to talk me off of this play. He's going to be one of my highest owned guys this week. And I feel very, very confident about it. And I'm willing, as always, if he sucks, he sucks. And the great thing about DFS is if he sucks, there is always next week. So it is what it is.
The majors are a little more expensive for the bankroll, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's very true. Hoop, do you have any final thoughts this week?
Looking forward to another major big contest out there. Just same thing that I kind of opened with. A lot of places they talk about ownership and you can't play this guy, you can't play that guy because he's going to be X amount owned. Dude, I've been playing PGA DFS for a long time. And at these majors, there might be 2 guys that spike with pretty high ownership. Outside of that, it all gets balanced out. So don't build your teams with ownership in mind.
Yeah, I like that. Very good mention right there. Snyder, do you have any final thoughts for this week?
Yeah, I agree with everything Hoop said there with ownership wise. I don't even pay attention to it at all or anything. I just play the guys I like. And after this show, make sure to tune into the Rempier Bet side. Me, JJ, and Uncle T will be over there giving out some bets and some free winners.
Uncle T can show up to that show?
Is that tonight?
That's nice. That's
Is that
nice,
tonight?
It's right after this.
That's so nice, Uncle T. You must hate us, AP. I think Uncle T hates us.
It's hurtful, Uncle T. Yeah. I know you're watching. It's hurtful. After the show is over, I'm probably gonna, cry or something. I'll be very upset. I'm not sure if I'm going to punch something or what, but it's just hurtful, man. I'm very disappointed in Uncle T. It's a good mention. I'll have to tune in as I'm fine tuning kind of the content. Playbook will be up shortly. Course will be up tomorrow. Cash chart will be up tomorrow. Discord has already been lit.
Cash chart's actually already up. Your boy was on top of it.
Cash chart is up.
Cash chart winners are up. So
nice.
Check it out.
I like it.
And make sure to check into the Showdown. I'm sure we'll have way bigger Showdown contests this weekend. So we'll be all over that this weekend.
Yeah, we should have some nice edges too in Showdown formats, just with the wind and everything and just how this course sets up. Depending on, Wyndham Clark and his tee time, he's going to be a guy I get on. He's, eagle upside, birdie upside, already made an ace on 17. So you got to love him. I think it's a great week to MME and eat some chalk or whatever if you're looking at ownership, but just get overweight and don't worry about it. Condense your player pool. That's going to be the way to get different. It's going to help you to create an edge. Don't be out there playing 80, 90 guys in your player pools. I don't think it's wise at all. You're just, if you're even with the field, I really don't know what you're doing. It's not smart at all. People do it all the time. I literally have looked for probably 2 months straight now. Every Thursday I look at ownership and I just laugh and we have a good time talking about it in Discord. With that, guys, excellent show tonight. Very excited for the PGA Championship this week. It's going to be another week where we are running Pier with, me, AP, Snyder, and Hoop. Good luck with your contest and run Pier.